Hello. Happy 2026. If you're listening real time. Oh my gosh. I am so genuinely happy to be here with you back on the Decision Ease podcast. I'm Kirsten, and I took a little bit of a break, and I'm going to tell you about it, and I'm going to tell you specifically how we are thinking big this year, even as the podcast title suggested, even if 2025 beat you up a little bit. Right now, you're probably hearing from a lot of, podcasts or a lot on your Instagram feed or the line at the coffee shop. You're hearing from a lot of people, oh man, last year was rough. So I'm not actually going to list out all of the ways that you may or may not have been beaten up by 2025. You know where you are. You know what has happened. My main point is that you are not alone. You are not in a boat, adrift in the ocean, struggle busing. I'm mixing metaphors now, but welcome to the podcast. This is where we are. You're not struggle busing by yourself while everyone else is just having an easy time. What I want to focus on for this episode and for this year, because I am in this boat with you, is that we can still think big and make decisions accordingly, even if we have a little less in the tank, all right? It might require making some decisions differently. It might require doing some things differently. If you've been a longtime watcher of the podcast, you will notice that we are taking a break from the video component of the pod. It's just going to make life easier and this decision to keep the podcast going more implementable. And if you know me, you know I am all about ease. But ease does not have to mean doing less, lowering your standards, or being generally lazy. And it doesn't mean settling for what is within arm's reach. So I don't want you to feel the pressure right now that if last year did beat you up a little bit, you have to pretend it didn't happen if you're going to have the audacity to set goals. And I don't also want you to feel like if last year beat you up a little bit, that has to weigh you down. And you have to assume, well, I can't go fast. I can't think big. I can't do things I would otherwise be able to do because of X, Y, and Z that I experienced or that happened, etc. So we're going to talk about how to create a fresh start, how to capitalize on this clean slate New Year's energy in a way that fits your real life. Okay? One that lets you accept where you're coming from and lets you choose where you're going. Sometimes you just need a reminder that you are still allowed to think big. Sometimes you just need a reminder that you are the person who has done every single giant thing in your life, and you have overcome every single challenge you have overcome in your life, and you have solved every single problem that you have solved. You are that person. You're probably that person times 10 after last year, if you had a year like most of the people I know and myself. Like, holy moly. Are we strong and resilient problem solvers? Yeah. And I feel like sometimes when we are as honest as we can be with ourselves about what you've experienced and what you've solved and what you've overcome and all the things, it can actually leave you feeling really tired. So I want to be a voice in your ear right now, reminding you that, hey, part of you also knows you want big things, and you do not want to limit yourself to survival mode, and you don't want to live in recovery mode indefinitely. Like, we need to recover. Yes, we need to get resourced. We need to not push ourselves 24/7, hustle, hustle, hustle. But you might be coming out of a period where your nervous system was very used to staying alert, being reactive, bracing for what might have to be solved or faced next. And that may have influenced your default decision making. So I'm wanting to point you to the opportunity you have in front of you right now to reset. Again, not to pretend we're not coming from where we're coming from, but to reset in a way that gives you permission to start making decisions differently than you maybe had to in the season that just passed. We're going to do some personal disclosure first, so you know where I'm coming from, so you know what is informing my perspective. If you're new here, hi, by the way, welcome to the Decision Ease podcast. I'm Kirsten, your decision guide. Let's make your life easier by helping you trust yourself and take charge of your decision process, because that is what it takes. For the past 2.5-ish, maybe 3 years even, many of my decisions have been rooted in a kind of defense mode. Not in a dramatic, I'm always on the defense of life kind of way, but there were a lot of brand new challenges to deal with, a lot of things that needed solving, a lot of surprises that came up in life, kind of over and over and over and over again. And if you've been listening for a while, you might have heard me talk about some of this along the way of the journey. It started largely with the writer's strike of 2023. My husband is a camera operator in Hollywood, in the industry, and the writer's strike had a big impact on our life, our marriage, our finances, how we made a lot of decisions. And immediately following the writer's strike, he got a job out of the country. And he worked out of the country, sometimes out of the state, but mostly out of the country in totally different time zones across oceans for a solid 1.5 years, immediately after that almost year-long period of the writer's strike. And in that time, oh my gosh, I moved our whole household by myself. I traveled to, I don't even know how many different countries. And a lot of that was kind of unplanned because we couldn't plan that far in advance. It just was kind of situation after situation. And a lot of it was positive and a lot of it was very, very hard. And why I'm saying that kind of put me in defense mode is because now that I'm looking back on this period of time, which is a chapter closed, he is back in the country. We are rearranging a lot of the foundation of how our life works together so that we can not have such a chaotic time going forward. But it was kind of chaos. And it kind of felt like I wasn't thinking ahead and being intentional and being proactive and self-directed as much as I normally would. And certainly not as much as I normally want to be, just because it seemed like there was so much happening outside of me that needed dealing with. You know what? Sometimes this really is the season you're in. You have stuff coming up in your family, in your job, in your community, in your close relationships that you maybe didn't plan on, or maybe you could see coming, but it was unpleasant and you just couldn't get ahead of it or didn't want to. Whatever the situation is, sometimes you're in a season of what feels like defense mode, where you're not really like setting big goals and going full force out the gate every morning, like jumping out of bed and being like, I'm gonna love tackling my to-do list today. You're not really gonna feel like you're leading as much as you are responding to everyday life. And that's sometimes where we find ourselves. I can tell you, it is a season that will extend on its own. Like you've heard of Broadway shows getting extended. This is a show where you are reacting more than leading. This is a show that will be extended on its own over and over and over again. It will continue to be the way of life if you don't at some point interrupt it. And that can be a slow trickle. That can be like small changes over the course of time. Or it can be a full stop where you say, all right, I'm done operating this way. Everything needs to change. And one is not better than the other. Getting to the end of this season so that you can finally start making more decisions that feel like you're leading your life and leading yourself and thinking about what you want beyond what you want in this one next hour or what you need in this one next day or week, that's a win. So first and foremost, I want you to give yourself the win, wherever you're coming from right now. If you are long past that season, if you are just coming to the end of that season, or if you're in that kind of moment of awareness where you're like, oh, I haven't actually been leading as much as I have been just reacting and responding, and I want to lead my life more, give yourself the win for recognizing that, because it has to start with a decision. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how to start thinking big, even if your tank doesn't feel totally full, even if you haven't been operating in this totally self-directed, I'm going to lead my life way. You have to give yourself the win of seizing the moment that's right now. You know that saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now? You know that it's true. And we can get so caught up thinking about how much time we wasted, quote unquote, and judging ourselves for what we shouldn't have done, quote unquote. And I can help you with that. I can help you process those shame and regret responses, but I don't want you to waste your time on them right now. I don't actually want you to dig into like, why did everything happen the way it did? And what's everything that I did wrong? I actually want you to say, okay, what has been, and where I am right now is where I am right now. And that is the best place to start the next chapter. All right. I want you to give yourself full permission to start your next chapter from wherever you are. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until this thing is better or that thing has cleared up or this project is wrapped up or this problem is totally solved or until you've changed this habit or you've X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, you don't have to wait. You can decide my next chapter starts right now. No waiting. Let's think big. And if you're tired, that's okay. You can meet yourself where you are. You do not have to fake energy or fake enthusiasm for any of the goals that you set or intentions you have for the coming year. You can have a quiet, fresh start. You can think big without thinking loud. Does that make sense? But when you embody this energy of, oh my gosh, I can start my next chapter right now. Even if I have a million unmade decisions, a million unsolved problems, a million open loops, as we sometimes say over here, you can actually decide to start right now. Giving yourself that permission will let you answer this very important question honestly. The question is, what would you really love to achieve, feel, and or experience in 2026? What would you really love to achieve, feel, and or experience? You can break this down into categories. I have clients who really like making columns and charts and color-coded things and if you know. So spreadsheet it out, make a Post-it chart, do whatever you want to do to make this fun. I find that separating out your thoughts in these categories is really helpful to not discount or completely miss anything that you really, really do want for this year. And it also helps you clarify, what decisions am I going to need to make this happen? So I'm going to say it again. What would you really love to achieve, feel, and experience this year? And make them separate. Achieving something like running your first marathon or finishing your book or selling your first piece of art or whatever it is separate from feeling self-connected, self-trusting, peaceful, fulfilled, centered, whatever emotions you want to feel. This is a really easy category of goals to skip because people are generally like, well, I don't know how to do that. And I just hope I end up feeling, generally better, which that's not thinking big. Okay. That is settling. That is settling for, I'll take the same or 2% better, but better in what direction? What do you want to feel? And what would you really love to experience? This is like where we get to say, okay, I'm going to be honest. I want to see Paris on Valentine's Day or whatever it is that you want to experience. If you want to get your old college friends together for that reunion that you've been talking about for years, but you've never really actually gotten, like if you want to go visit a friend or relative's child before they get another year older, what are the experiences that you want that are different from achievements and emotions? And I have many important qualifiers here as you explore your answers to this question. I want you to notice, are you automatically holding back? Are you automatically smallifying your answers based on where you're coming from? This is totally normal. I do not mean to make you feel bad for smallifying your answers. I just want you to notice if there's a hesitation to be honest, because, well, yeah, of course, I'd love to see Paris at Valentine's, but I could never get my life together in time to even plan that trip. Or I would love to get my college friends together, but oh my God, the energy it would take to get that thing off the ground, that's not happening. I don't want you to cut your goals off at the knees, as it were. You're going to get more of what you want in life if you are honest about what you want. All right? I know that sounds like really basic, kind of duh, okay, thanks for telling us what we already know, Kirsten, a kind of mantra, but it is true. You get more of what you want if you're honest about what you want. And you writing down what you would love to achieve, feel, and experience is not you signing a blood oath to the universe that you are going to go after all of these things at once with full force. And if you fail to check off all of the boxes, then you do not pass go and you go immediately to jail. Like, that is not what we are doing. We do not have to put the pressure of anything, of any commitment, of any action on this step of the process. This is where a lot of people hold themselves back from being honest because they jump immediately to, I don't have the energy for that. I don't know where to start with that. I don't even think that's possible. I don't even know how I would begin to go about figuring this out. And none of that matters. I'm going to tell you that right now. None of that matters. It doesn't matter if you know how to do anything, if you know where to start, if you will have the energy or not. Because you don't have a crystal ball. We can't guarantee you're going to have the energy for anything. But if we zoom out and we look at what can we do now to give you the highest chance of having a life that looks the way you want it to and feels the way you want it to by the end of the year, what can you do now to be as much of the person as you want to be by the end of this year? What can you do now? What you can do now is be honest about what you want. So don't worry about being bold and saying things out loud that you may not end up setting goals around, that you may not end up actioning. And put a hand on your heart here. Recognize that your instinct to smallify your answers is probably coming from a lot of self-protection. It's probably coming from a strong instinct to protect yourself from overextending, from being disappointed, from feeling like a failure. That's fine. That's totally fine. Put a hand on your heart. Thank your inner minions who are trying so hard to protect you from all of the worst feeling things. And be honest with yourself that I actually have nothing to lose by being honest about this. I have nothing to lose, but potentially everything to gain by being honest about what I want. Because I'm going to give you a little real talk as we round the corner into the end of the episode. The real, honest to gosh truth is surprises will come up. Challenges will come up. Problems will come up. And you will give your time and attention to them because you are a hardworking, problem-solving, high-achieving son of a gun. You are resilient and you are resourceful, but you might not ignore that problem for the sake of your own priorities. You might not delay dealing with that challenge for the sake of progressing your own goals. You might be a person who will shove everything to the side for what demands your attention in the moment, or what asks for your help, or what guilt trips you into prioritizing it. There are a lot of ways that our resources get spoken for. What you really want to achieve, feel, and experience this year does not have a fighting chance of getting your resources if you don't name it and say it out loud. Think big. Because if we want any of that to have a fighting chance at getting an hour of your time this week, even though so many other priorities have come up, if we want to give any of that a fighting chance of becoming a reality, even though other problems have surprised you and need solving, you have to be honest about it right now. And I want you to really hear me when I give you this very important reminder. You can still think big, even if you're tired. There is a part of you that knows you getting what you want in life will give you energy. There is a part of you that knows as soon as you stop settling for life as it is and just making it through every single day and just keeping the machinery going, there is a part of you that knows when you are living more of life aligned with what you really want to be doing, you will feel stronger. You will not feel like you're in defense mode. You will feel resourced to deal with the problems that, sometimes may feel like they're attacking you and you have to defend against them. But you won't be living in that mode. So even if you're tired right now, I want you to give yourself permission to go get a cold brew. They have protein cold foam now at Starbucks, y'all. If you don't know, now you know. Go get yourself some protein. Go get yourself some caffeine. Go get yourself some sunshine, whatever it takes to give yourself a jolt of energy and really let this be important enough to muster some energy for. Just this exercise, just this thinking through what you want to achieve and feel and experience and really being honest about it, not smallifying anything. Especially if you're tired, especially if you feel a little beat up by last year, especially if you feel a little down about the progress you didn't make or the goals you did actually set aside. Because guess where the best place to start from is? If you're going to start a new chapter and write a new story that you like better, the best place to start is right frickin' here. Good news, you're already there. You are already in the best place to start. How about that? Isn't that handy? Okay, if this is the year you want to direct your best energy back towards yourself, if you want to make decisions you actually love and understand why you're making them and not constantly judge your choices or how they get made, that is exactly what we do inside the Decision Ease program. It's a completely unique experience. It's not just a course that you buy and then you kind of open once and you never look at again. And it's not an intensive schedule that you have to keep up with in order to get anything out of. It's an 8-week experience that you can actually do on your own time. You can do it in 8 weeks or you can take a whole year to do it. But you get direct individual support from me for a full 8 weeks. And every single week you get a different piece of the Decision Ease framework. So one week we talk about overthinking. Another week we focus on clarity. Another week is all about other people's opinions. Every single week you get a bite-sized thing to focus on because we're all about making this implementable in real life, not overwhelm-inducing. And then you get individual support from me, one-on-one. You get to go into real life, use the tools of the week, and then ask for guidance in working through a real-time decision and keep practicing being a person who makes more and more decisions they actually like. Keep showing yourself that you are a person who does deserve their own best energy. That is how this program is designed, so that accountability is not the hardest part. Usually with things like this, it doesn't matter how good the material is. The accountability of actually getting through the material and then ever implementing it at all in your life is where everything crashes and burns and nobody's lives are helped. That is why I've specifically designed this program to be as accessible in your everyday life as possible. This is for you if you are wanting to feel like you are leading your life more and more. And you don't have to identify as a chronic overthinker or a chronic people pleaser. The truth is, we all have decision habits that don't serve us. And they show up in lots and lots of different ways. That's why I give you the bite-sized fundamentals of the Decision Ease framework, and then the real transformation where you actually build new habits that will last you a lifetime is in working together one-on-one. That's where I let you know, here's what I'm seeing in the way that you are thinking about this problem or approaching this decision. And here's how you can use these specific tools from the framework to apply to your life, to your decision, to your habits. So I have something really, really important to tell you though, because this episode is coming out on January 1st, 2026. Happy New Year. The program is only $495 this month only. Starting January 26th, 2026, the price goes up So you're going to want to go to kirstenparker.com/program or just click the link in the show notes and grab the low price while you can get it. And the best part is you can start any Monday in January. Any Monday, the 5th, 12th, 19th, or 26th. You still have time, if you're listening before January 26th, to buy at the low price and then start on your schedule. And just because you start your program on the 12th doesn't mean you have to keep up with the schedule. You're just going to get an email every Monday for 8 weeks with a new bite-sized lesson. But if you want to spend 2 weeks on every lesson, or if you want to take 3 weeks off in the middle, that is up to you. All the nitty-gritty details are on the website. Email me anytime with any questions. I want you to know, though, you're in the perfect place to start. If you want to think big, if you want to meet yourself where you are and not feel limited or slowed down or completely cut off from directing your life, from leading yourself, you can. This is the year you can stop defaulting to decisions being made the way they always have. In a hurry, for other people, full of angst, whatever the defaults are that you don't really want to live with the rest of your life, you don't have to. And it doesn't have to be an incredibly heavy lift to get you feeling better, feeling cleaner, feeling more efficient and clear with your choices. You just need a completely straightforward, accessible framework to use, and you need the one-on-one help to implement it in your real life. So that's what this is. Go to kirstenparker.com/program to get in before the price doubles on January 26th, 2026. You can start any Monday this month. And if you are listening later or you missed this deadline or you're just like, I'm not going to start this month, but I want to eventually, you can still get it after the 26th. It's not going anywhere. I just want to make it as easy as possible. If you are feeling a little tired, if you are feeling a little beat up, if you are feeling like, I want to make positive changes, I want to think big, I want to get going, but I'm worried I'm going to just stay tired for like the first 8 months of this year, I want to make it as easy as possible for you to take the action you want to take. If this is it, if this is the first step, I'm going to be there from day one to help you, so you do not have to do it alone. All right. I hope you have the best New Year's Day. First week of the best year of your life. Let's leave what we need to behind in 2025. And let's decide whatever we want to be possible from today forward is possible. It starts with a decision. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you back here every Thursday to help you make decisions easier by trusting yourself and taking charge of your process. Bye. Hey, want to find out your decision style? Obviously, go take the decision style quiz. It's in the show notes and at kirstenparker.com/quiz. We all have our style when it comes to making decisions, but do you know how to use your default way of thinking to your advantage? Or do you mainly get stuck in the most annoying parts of overthinking and people pleasing? The decision style quiz has your answers, my friend. Take it right now at kirstenparker.com/quiz.